Welcome to another episode of Is It Craptical or Is It Practical? And this time I am going to be looking at a Rough Ryder, specifically the RR1984 Sky Titan. And I bought this knife for one reason and one reason only, and it's not because it had a blue blade and a gray handle. And while the coloring is really nice, what I was really interested in is right here, the Tanto blade. I don't have any knives with a Tanto blade, and I wanted to try one out. And I ended up being very impressed with the way the blade actually handles. I do like the tip. It really does jam into things with no problem. And I also like the slight recurve you have on the blade down here too. And that little nub right there where the Tanto begins is also pretty good at getting into little things when you're pressing down like so. So yeah, all in all, the shape of the blade really impressed me, and its cutting ability also impressed me. The first thing I did was just shred a bubble wrap envelope with this thing in no time flat, and then I tried it up on some paper, cutting up some paper and stuff, and it worked really well with that too. Things I'm not crazy about with the knife, and things if I would have read the specifications closer, would have possibly stopped me from buying this knife, are right here, the main one, the frame lock. I really just don't like frame locks. And this one has a little ball bearing in there. This actually opens with a ball bearing. This is not an automatic, despite how well it opens, how easily it opens. It does just flip open. But if you notice on the frame lock, if you can see in there, let me take the box here maybe. You see that little button in there, that little detent or whatever they want to call it? That is what actually holds the blade in place when you have it closed. And when I'm pressing on the knife to open it, and this was happening multiple times when I first got it, my hand would be hitting the clip here, and the clip just barely touches the frame lock, even though it is also on the handle, but it hits the frame lock enough to make it really hard to open. And the more you squeeze the knife, the harder it becomes to open. So you got to have your hand off of that clip or up here so that you can get the blade to open easily. And that's a flaw as far as I'm concerned. You don't see it too much, but it just barely hits. And when the blade is deployed, it's riding above it. The other problem I have, because I'm left-handed, when I'm closing that frame lock, I have to get my thumb out of the way and close it. And if you notice, my hand is right there and gets real close. And sometimes my hand has actually been in the path, and I feel that blade just barely touching when I'm closing it. So I'm not comfortable closing it because I'm left-handed. And even when I'm closing it right-handed, getting the thumb across is a little trickier for me. But my hand is further out of the way at least. Does open pretty well right-handed, so righties are going to enjoy this knife better than I am. But you see, I'm not right-handed. I don't open a whole lot of knives right-handed, but I can work it right-handed. But I just don't feel as comfortable. As for the thumb studs, man, I try. I really do. But yeah, I press and press and don't go anywhere. I get a little bit better with the right hand, but you see, it doesn't fly open like it does with the flipper. And I'm also, the few times that I do manage to get it to fly fast enough, my thumb ends up hitting this blade like so every time, and I just keep thinking I'm going to cut myself. So thumb studs are a definite negative on this knife as far as I'm concerned, but it has a really good flipper, and it opens up really fast. I mean, you got to remember, this is not spring assisted or anything. This is just opening by gravity. And you can see I can close it one-handed. It's a little trickier, but usually you don't have to worry so much about opening it or closing it fast. It's usually the opening that you want, and it opens really well. So I'm very happy with the knife, despite the few problems that it does have. The things I'll probably end up doing to it, I'll probably pop off those thumb studs. That way I get a little more usable knife blade. And I'll probably get rid of the clip here, because I'll have more handle to grab onto when I'm working the knife when I'm opening it, and I don't have to worry so much about the clip interfering with the frame lock. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. Also happy that it has a lanyard hole, because if I take off that clip, I'm going to need to be able to pull it out of something easier. It will then be also tip up, because I'm pulling it out with a lanyard. But I could also put it in a sheath and leave it tip down, and then as long as I got enough room to pull it out. But not too concerned about that. I'm used to that. It's one of those things that us lefties get used to, having to modify right-handed knives so that we can work them easier. But as long as that blade can open that fast, I'm pretty happy with it. The other thing I like, I don't know if I mentioned it, is the little ramp here for the thumb. I think they call it a harpoon shape or something. But you can really get your thumb on there and press down hard. And you got the flipper to stop your hand from sliding forward if you're jabbing stuff. And the blade finish does look really nice. I don't know how well it'll hold up. It's a blue titanium coating. I do like the accent here. The handle is stainless steel, but as you can see, it's held on by brass screws. And you see I have tried to adjust the tension on here. I did not need to adjust the tension. I thought I did, but I didn't. It was all my hand pressing on the frame lock, interfering with the detent. But if you see there, the blade is pretty well centered. It's going right down the middle. And this is just a $13 knife, so, and it's a Rough Ryder. But they're doing a pretty good job on modern folders. I'm pretty happy with this knife. Overall size of the knife, let's see here. Yeah, right at 4.5 inches or so. Yeah, right at 4.5 inches. So comes in at 115 millimeters or so. Blade length. Well, let's do the tip of the Tanto. About 1 1/8 or 30 millimeters. Overall length of the blade. Let's call it 3 3/8. We'll go down here and go 80 millimeters, something like that. 84 millimeters. Like I said, the only real thing I have against this knife is the frame lock. But it is a very positive frame lock, and I'm getting used to it. And I also have gotten to the point where it flips pretty good. And it looks pretty good. So practical or craptical, I'm giving this a practical. I like it, and for 13 bucks, you really can't go wrong. Got a really nice blade shape. You got the swedge up here. You got the nice Tanto tip. It really is a good poker. It's a really good slicer too. So yeah, I'm happy with it. So there you have it. The RR1984 Rough Ryder Sky Titan. A practical knife for 13 bucks. Might look like a gas station knife, but if it is a gas station knife, it's one of the better ones you're ever going to find. Really solid build. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Knife Chats, and if you did, please like and share it with your friends. Comments are always welcome. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode of Knife Chats is up online. Thanks again. Hope to see you soon.